we've obviously been providing services and products and advice and guidance for stand-up paddleboarders for some time, but getting the recognition from Sport England means that it gives you more credibility, authority to start to look at the ways in which the sport and the activity can be governed and developed. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to working with the SUP community as we move forward now. Well, SUP has grown massively over the last few years. Huge numbers of people taking part in the activity. We've seen a growth of around about 60,000 new members to British Canoeing, the majority of which are stand-up paddleboarders. And there are also a huge number of stakeholders. There are lots of people now manufacturing boards, lots and lots of people retailing boards, lots of people delivering hire services, lots of clubs doing stand-up paddleboarding. But there's no one person or group or organisation to bring all that together and to look at some of the critical elements that are required to make sure that people are able to paddle safely and for the sport and the activity to grow. To govern a sport like this it's a big job, and there's lots of elements to it. But what we've done is try to identify the 3 or 4 key areas that we feel, and from conversations with people in the SUP community, that they feel are kind of needed very quickly. First of those, is, as you just mentioned, is safety. We want to make sure that anybody who goes out and takes part in stand-up paddleboarding, whatever kind of format it is, does so safely. But there aren't, at the moment, consistent safety messages. And I think what we want to try and do is use the national governing body status to bring people together, bring parties together, to share thoughts, ideas, and advice, so that when someone goes out, they get consistent information wherever they are and whoever they're working with. And then that safety is, it looks at those key elements of risk around taking part in stand-up paddleboarding and guides people as to how to avoid those or to mitigate against those potential risks. So the safety is number one, probably. Second, I think, is the area around standards of delivery. So for people, whether they're in clubs or whether they're in hire centres or whether they're in whatever organisation they are, people want to be reassured that when they go to that activity, when they take part in those SUP activities, that they are doing it knowing that the equipment's the right equipment, that they've got the right type of instructors or leaders, or they've got the right qualifications to deliver the activity, and that they're going to do so safely. And that they're able to take part in groups or individuals in a way which makes sure that they stay safe. So industry standards around the delivery of SUP is the kind of second area. And third, and it's kind of aligned to that, is that it goes back to qualifications and standards around people, individuals. Again, with the growth of lots of different activities and lots of people and lots of organisations getting involved in SUP, there's quite a number now who are delivering qualifications or training. And as a national governing body, we want to get this together and look at ways in which we can harmonise and make sure those standards are the right standards and the right level, and people understand exactly what those people are capable and competent to do.
Why not Wales at this stage? Why are you just England?
Well, it's kind of complicated in as much as the various sports councils gave the surf associations recognition for SUP as part of their national governing body status. So, for example, Sports Council for Wales gave the SUP Federation in Wales recognition for SUP, but didn't recognise the work that Canoe Wales do in that area. And usually you'd expect it to be a kind of a GB or a UK agreement, but in this case, Sport England have taken the lead to recognise us for SUP, alongside and with an MOU that we've agreed and signed with Surfing England. So I think those conversations are still taking place in Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and I think they'll happen pretty quickly. They're just a little bit behind the work that we've done in England. We've worked hard with a number of retailers to try and make sure that at point of sale, people are getting not only the right kind of equipment, but also the right kind of advice and information about how to paddle safely. So our Go Paddling website is probably the go-to area for most people who take part in stand-up paddleboarding to get good advice about how to, where to, and to do so safely. But I think that, again, the national governing body status gives us, as you said, that credibility to have conversations not only with retailers but manufacturers as well, to look at how do we make sure that the sport and the activity of SUP is as safe as it possibly can be.
As we look ahead to the summer, and it still seems quite a long way off, it's quite cold at the moment. Are you going to be able to do anything? Because I know you'd already worked on stuff ahead of this summer to kind of, keep people safe, to prevent, things that we've seen in past years.
Yeah, we're in the planning stages and final planning stages for a summer safety campaign, working with the RNLI, working with the Environment Agency, Surfing England, a whole range, RLSS, a whole range of other organisations to make sure that, and it's targeted particularly at novices to the sport. So if people are out and they're seen to be pumping up their stand-up paddleboard or getting onto their sit on top, that will hopefully have, in hotspots around the country, groups of volunteers who are able to talk to them, advise them about leashes, advise them about buoyancy aids, talk to them about offshore winds and a whole range of things that might be a problem to them. So yeah, we're conscious of that. The sport's still growing. We know that more people this summer. We've looked at the weather forecast, probably as you have done. It looks like it's going to be another hot one, which means that more people will be out on their boards. And we're working with a whole range of partners and stakeholders to make sure that people stay safe.
Yeah, no, because obviously there was the sort of rivalry with surfing, and now you've agreed to work together. Is there a big advantage to having the two, being told you have to work together? Because I know you went to it's the World Court of Arbitration for Sport, which is above your level, but that kind of feeds down, doesn't it? This is quite a different mentality now. What kind of advantages can you see from that?
It's certainly not a rivalry. I think what we're trying to get to with the partnership with Surfing England is to make sure that we cover the whole of the SUP community. There are people who are surfers, and when there's no surf, they will go paddleboarding. We've got people who are paddleboarders on inland waterways, and they'll go onto the coast. And by working together, we would hope that we can get those safety messages, those standards across that whole of that SUP community, so we're not missing anybody. So yeah, I think it'd be a really exciting partnership. I'm really looking forward to working with Surfing England on this.